Welcome back to another episode of the For the Healthy Host podcast, where we talk about conscious living, self-awareness, and everything in between. I'm your host, Ree. Thank you for joining me and allowing me to be a part of your journey. Before we begin, let's just take a quick moment to check in with ourselves. I know I need it right now. Breathe through your nose and exhale, grounding yourself in this moment, becoming present with your body, with how you feel, any emotions, any thoughts, any feelings. They are all valid and they just want to be understood and released. In this moment, I'm feeling, honestly, it's been a crazy week. Not even crazy, just emotional. It's been a very emotional week. A lot of luteal phase drama, a lot of shedding old layers, and it's been a little rough, I'm not gonna lie. But I think in this moment, I'm feeling grounded. There's a little bit of something in here. I don't really have the words. I can't really explain to you, but just know there's something going on in here. But I'm okay. I feel okay. But I feel that there's something that needs to be worked through. You feel me? If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. But I am happy to be here. I'm grateful to be here in connection with community, in connection with myself. I hope that you are well and find the courage to work through whatever needs to be worked through in this moment. That being said, something I've been thinking about a lot lately is control. I think control is something that I've tried to possess for most of my life without really truly knowing why. I'm finally getting to the point where I think I understand why I wanted to hold or have control. But seeking for control didn't give me what I was looking for. It gave me the exact opposite, the loss of control. And if I were to define control, I would say that it is the attempt to manipulate time, emotions, feelings, experiences, outcomes. Control is restraint, the loss of autonomy. It is confinement. It is temporary fulfillment. And at its core, it's simply an illusion. Control is not something that you can grasp. A few minutes ago, I was saying how I think I figured out why I specifically wanted control. And, sometimes still do seek that control, but I always find my way back to myself. But I think generally speaking, as humans, we fear uncertainty. We fear the unknown. And we want that safety. We want that security, that stability. And sometimes life just throws these experiences at us that makes us feel that we are not in control, which is why we seek that control. It's almost like a domino effect. To me, the more that I try to gain control, or possess control, the more that control slips through my fingers, which it was never there. I experienced a lot of loss at a very young age, and that in itself is tough, one. But two, I don't know, man, it creates this need for sameness, this need to know what's going to happen in the future because of what has happened in the past. Those experiences, I don't know, they made me feel like I was out of my body. They made me feel like I didn't have much control of my own life. If the things that I loved, the people that I loved could be gone. You know what I mean? That sounds really dark, but like this shit is real. This is real life. Could be gone in an instant, you know? It really does something to you. And so I would do things, and I'm still recovering from, I'm still healing from, like overcompensate. I was going to say overcompensate. Where we skating? But I would do things like overcompensate in order to control. I would move with a lot of urgency in order to control, because it feels like there is always a finish line, right? That's what control, when I think of control, I think of completion, right? There's an end goal. There is something to harvest, something to get, something to grasp. But if you think about life, if you think about the way the universe works, nothing ever truly ends. When you think about the seasons, I personally use this example so much because I love it and I live my life in sync with the seasons. Fall, it leaves us, right? And we can distinctly tell when fall is leaving us and when it's transitioning to winter. Fall ends, yes, but it always comes back. It always transforms, evolves, it flows. And when you realize that life was designed to transform and evolve, and even your soul, it transcends, you stop fighting the flow. You begin to surrender. You begin to be in your body and be one in your being and flow with the universe and the laws of nature. I know seeking control, it does give us this feeling of stability. What I find is that rigid control, as I said, it restrains you. It's constricting. It doesn't allow enough space for your soul, for your being, for your life to unfold as it is meant to unfold. As humans, through this quest of trying to gain control, we often lose ourselves. I found myself very lost, very disconnected from my being, from my soul, from who I truly am, because I so badly wanted to be in control of everything, everyone. But what's funny is we don't have control, okay? But we do have autonomy. We do have free will. We have the ability to move in this world as we need, in a way that aligns with our beliefs and aligns with our values without the external influence of others. Like, that's your birthright. You have autonomy, and you have to respect that everyone else has autonomy over their own life as well. I was thinking earlier this week, and it was totally separate from this conversation that we're having, but they do relate. How are we able to have hopes and desires without control? And it is completely possible. It is possible to have hopes and desires that you want to manifest into this reality, or you catch up with that reality, while respecting the natural flow of life and respecting the autonomy of others. Simply put, we are co-creators. We are in a relationship, as I've said before, with the universe. We are in this together. And when you realize that you have autonomy over your self, your life. Think of devotion, think of discipline, think of getting up and doing the things that you need to do and moving how you need to move in a way where it's in alignment with what you want in this lifetime. Because what you want is valid. Your desires are valid. But you don't have to control, you have to trust that when you are doing your part in this relationship and this collaboration, everything is going to unfold exactly as it should. It's going to unfold exactly as it was written. You have to trust that. Something I've been telling myself lately is, why wouldn't I trust the universe? Or God or source or divine, whatever you believe in, why wouldn't you trust it? Even if you don't believe in anything at all, something believed in you. Something had faith in you. Something trusted in you for you to be here and have this human experience, for you to carry out this mission that you were meant to carry out in this lifetime. So because that source, that power had so much trust in me, I'm going to trust it. It's the least I could do. And listen, this is a very honest space. And I have to tell myself that, like, I get to be honest here. I don't have to perform here or anywhere, but especially here, you know what I mean? And neither do you. So this is just me being honest. I know so many of us, we get very committed to our outer world. We become very committed to chasing things. We get committed to expecting things. Not even committed, we get accustomed. We get accustomed to expecting things. And we lose ourselves. We forget what it means to be a human being. We forget the point of this human experience. The fact that we are here having this experience in itself is a miracle. It's absolutely insane. One of my favorite songs by Salt is called Miracle. I was like, it's called Miracle. And in it, it's just saying, like, you know, we're looking for a miracle. We're searching for a miracle, all of these things outside of ourselves. But the miracle is you. The miracle is the fact that you are here having this very experience. The miracle is the fact that you are here listening or watching this conversation or engaging in this conversation. Like, that's the miracle. I don't have it all figured out, but I know that we are here to really explore, to enjoy, to just get lost in the depths of this human experience. All of them. All of our emotions, all of our feelings. The human experience is meant to be a rich one. And when you allow yourself to just live and just be, you realize that you were the miracle all along. You start to take the little things, the smallest things. You start to be really grateful for them. You start to be really content with your life, with who you are, with where you are, with who you have, with what you have, with where you're going. Uncertainty, it now excites me because you can think of uncertainty in the unknown. It's all about perspective. Like, uncertainty and unknown, for me, it's blank space. It's a blank canvas, meaning I get to create. I get to co-create with the universe, and that shit is beautiful. Like, I literally don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I get to create it. Like, I have full autonomy to create it. And sometimes I forget all of it. Like, everything I just said, that's why I have these conversations, to remind myself. It's like really strengthening. First of all, it's always to spread peace and love. but also it strengthens like my neurotransmitters in my brain, and it deepens that belief and that knowing and that knowledge. Yeah. But sometimes I forget and I seek that control. I get right back on the journey of control, but I always find my way back to myself. And here's just a few ways that I like really allow myself to enjoy this human experience, to flow with this human experience and surrender to it, and allow not only myself but my experiences to be as fluid as possible and rich as possible. I cry for no reason at all. I cry just about a few times a week. I'm crying. Yeah. Crying for me is just like a sweet release. Mm-mm-mm. It feels so good to get whatever it is that was dying to escape out of my body, from my soul, out of me. Like, it just feels so good. And everyone knows I'm a crier. Like, my family knows that, like, I be crying. She's in there crying. But she's okay, though. She's okay. I think crying is often connected, or even like people think it's synonymous to sadness. But no. Like, I'm not crying because I'm sad. I'm crying to release. Sometimes I be sad. Not gonna cap. Sometimes I just straight up be sad. But sometimes I need to release. When I think about release, I think about letting go. I think about getting rid of. I think about evolution and healing and transformation and metamorphosis and blooming. I even think about the sun when I think about release. Because one thing about it, the sun is always going to return. I think about expression. And I also think about trauma too. I don't always know what I'm releasing, but I know we've all experienced trauma. Like, it's just something that we've all experienced, no matter who we are, no matter where we come from, no matter what we look like. Dr. Gabor says that trauma isn't something that happens to us. It's something that happens inside of us because of what happened to us. Shook, okay? To the core, okay? It makes so much sense. And because trauma is something that happens inside of us, I also believe that trauma can be passed down through genetics. So sometimes we release shit that I've heard this before, like as women, especially as women and humans with wombs, we tend to carry a lot of ancestral trauma there. And so we must release through whatever, like through crying, okay? Through expression, all right? Through movement. In whatever way we need to, we must release, because when you deny your right to express, to cry, to move your body, you are denying yourself the right to release, to let go, to evolve, to bloom. And honestly, at the beginning, during our check-in ritual, it's like I feel something. I don't really know what it is, but honestly, I probably just need to cry. Like, I know when I need to cry, and I've reached a place where it's just like, I don't need to know why I'm crying. Just do it if you need to. Because I found myself like mid crying. I'd be like, why am I even crying? But sometimes I figure out why. And other times I'll be like, you know what? We're just releasing. We're just letting go. We're just letting it be what it is. We're just surrendering to flow, because if not, you're going to have it inside of you when it needs to be let go of. It needs to be released. There's something very human about crying. There's something very human about feeling your emotions. I cry about everything too. Like, I'm an empathetic ass bitch. That's first and foremost. So I'm gonna cry about other people's experiences. If I'm watching, I done watched Insecure so many times, and I've cried so many times. I'm on the episode now where I think Tiffany is her name, where she was going through postpartum depression and she like ran away. And when Derek found her in the hotel room, she opened the door and she was just, I'm getting emotional now. She was just like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And started crying. And I'm just like, Jesus. But yeah, crying is so restorative to your mind, to your body, to your soul, to your nervous system. So, my love, cry if you need to. Cry if you need to. Please, let it out. Release. Be human. Please, for just a second, can we all just be human? That's all I want. Another way that I immerse myself in this human experience is by allowing myself to be loved by others. I know. Hear me out, okay? I feel like when we think of love, we think of in love, right? Oh, I'm in love. But love exists and operates on so many different frequencies, so many different levels, right? We have like simply compliments. Those come from a place of love. Admiration that comes from a place of love. To me, love is a spectrum. Okay? And I found myself rejecting that love. Like, think about when you get a compliment. And I know a lot of women specifically, we do it. Oh, I love your dress. I love your hair. Or you're very beautiful. You, this whole thing, I just put this on. We try to downplay it with this beautiful community that I'm a part of, that you are a part of. You guys are constantly pouring love into me. And I love the love, but honestly, I found myself rejecting it or feeling weird. Like, feeling weird or shy about it. But I'm not doing it anymore. Love is such a powerful frequency. It's such a magnetic frequency when you allow it. So much of life is not necessarily like finding peace or finding love. You don't find those things or finding joy. Those are things that you allow. You allow joy. You allow love. You allow peace. They aren't things that you have to find. So I allow myself to be loved in the big ways and in the small, subtle ways. So many of the things that the mundane and also suppressed or rejected things, they are the things that we are afraid of and we don't allow them, but we need them to enrich this human experience. We need love. We need to allow love. You know what I mean? And we end up chasing so much in this lifetime. A feeling, an experience, an outcome disguised as something else. We end up chasing temporary fulfillment, hoping that it'll hold us over until next time. The thing that we really need to allow is love. Allow yourself to be loved. Love feels so damn good. It feels so good. It feels like fireworks. It feels like sparks flying. It feels like home. It feels like enoughness. It feels like safety. It feels like I'm okay here. It feels like I belong here. You feel me? So allow love in every way that you can. One of the last ways that I let myself be human is through the 3 S's coined by Liz Tran. I feel it so deep in my soul when I first heard it, but I still to this very moment feel it so deep in my soul. But it's stillness, silence, and solitude. Those will make you feel human as fuck. You feel me? Those will really allow you to be like, wow, I'm human. Wow, my inner world is a garden. It's just me and me. It'll really have you swimming in the ocean. That is this human experience. I think it's so funny because stillness, silence, solitude is the thing that so many of us run from. We don't want to craft or create a relationship with ourselves. We be so immersed in relations outside of ourselves that we forget that the one that matters the most is the one with ourself, the one with source energy, God energy. We live in a time where there are so many things available within arm's reach, our phone being one, to like just easily distract ourselves, easily escape, easily run from ourselves. Like that is just so easy. It is so accessible to pretty much all of us. If you're listening, you have a phone, and it's one of the easiest ways to escape. But truthfully, it's not the only way to escape. Like if you have it in your soul, in your heart to escape yourself, to neglect your inner world, the garden within, you're going to do it. You're going to find a way because that's how humans are created. Humans are created, the brain specifically is created to find problems and solve them. So if you want to escape, you're going to do it. I know that sounds really bad, but like we escape through constant conversation, like being on the phone. Like I remember one of the last few times a few years ago where like this is when I first noticed it. I was in my car, I was driving somewhere, and I had the need to call somebody. The desire, because it's never a need. In the moment, it felt like a need, but I had the desire to call someone, to fill the silence with words, with conversation, with gossip. And if that person didn't answer, you call the next person. If that person didn't answer, you call the next person to avoid this silence, to avoid this stillness. And to me, stillness isn't something that, I've said this before, like, yes, you can physically be still, but stillness for me is mental stillness, mental silence. I did not want to be alone. I didn't realize I did not want to be alone. I would spend my time shopping, looking for clothes or purses, whatever, constantly trying to fill this void. I wasn't ready to just deal in general, but also just deal with myself, deal with my shit. Like that should take a lot of courage to just deal with yourself and your emotions and what is meant to be released, and just being real with yourself about where you are, what you want, who you are, and if who you are is actually who you are. That takes courage. And I commend anybody who has ever done it or who will ever do it. It's commendable. When you live in a society, in a world where everything is already predetermined for you. Your beliefs are already, if you let them, if you allow your beliefs to be determined, your choices to be determined, your actions, your thoughts to be determined, you damn right they will be. But you don't have to allow it. And that's why it's so important to create the space for stillness, for solitude, for silence. So you can create your own beliefs, your own values, your own thoughts. You can gain that autonomy back. Because honestly, there was a time where I didn't have full autonomy over my life. But I applied myself because I created the space to regain that autonomy, to find myself. In her book, The Karma of Success, when Liz is talking about the 3 S's, she talks about silence as we know it. It is the absence of noise. But in Buddhism, there is something called noble silence, and that is the achievement of silence within. And in order to achieve that silence within, you have to have calmness and peace within you. And I think when we think of like stillness, meditation, for me, it's like meditation or running. I love to run outside in nature with no music, just hear the birds. I'm like, damn, I'm really like moving with nature, with source energy. Or even just like cleaning or cooking, that's a form of meditation. Or not answering my phone when I don't feel like talking. My phone stay on D&D. I literally had a friend tell me, your phone stay on fuck you. She was like, your phone always on D&D. And I'm like, yes, my good sis, I'm trying to allow, because that's what I was going to say, like allow this peace, this stillness, this solitude. And even when we think about meditation, and Liz talked about this in her book as well, every time I sit down for meditation, which is a daily practice, is not perfect. It's not always good. Like my thoughts, like they gonna keep coming. It's gonna keep happening. It's not always just like this perfect experience. But what it is something you choose, and you realize you have the autonomy. You have, I've been using that word all episode, all conversation. You have free will to continue to come back to this space of stillness. I think, as I said before in the beginning, like when we think of control, there's always like this end goal. There's always something to harvest. There's always something to obtain. But by practicing stillness, and that shit look different for everybody. That stillness, that solitude. I'm a mom, so I can't spend a whole day alone. But what I can do is make my mornings as sacred as possible. I get up early so I can have that time alone, so I can practice these rituals that bring me back to myself. It's something you keep choosing to return to. But yeah, everything is so like goal oriented, task oriented. But I think it's so beautiful to create and savor those sacred moments in between. It allows so much richness, so much flow, so much fluidity within this human experience. I know we got goals. I know we have things we want to accomplish in this lifetime, rightfully so. But I love your inner world deserves as much attention, time, and nurturing as your outer world does. And like that's just it. You have to water your mental garden in order for it to bloom. And when you muster up the courage to find out, because we just don't know. We don't want to know. We want to escape. We don't want to be here in the now. But when you finally do, when you muster up the courage to find out what you're running from and what you're chasing, you're going to fuck around and find out. So you got to be prepared. Because a lot of times, like, I found for me, and this is honestly something I've been working through this year, shit changes, right? Externally, but also, more importantly, internally, things change. What you want change. Your beliefs, they change. They evolve with experience, with time. And that's just the facts of it. And something like that can be scary. Like, it's really spooky. It's really spooky when, we already know like externally things change, they evolve, they transform. But internally, when you are changing, you are transforming, you are evolving, it can be scary. And you just have to have the courage to trust, to flow, to believe, to let go of everything, of expectations. And what I've found in this space of stillness, of silence, of solitude is that I am safe, I am guided, I am looked after, I am exactly where I need to be, and everything is unfolding for my highest good, even if I don't understand it, especially when I don't understand it. Sometimes on the surface, like, you can really understand shit. Like, okay, I get that. But there are other things that are happening that feel like they are beyond your control, where you just don't understand. And in those moments is where trust is the most important. Fluidity is the most important. The allowance of fluidity, the allowance of trust, because it's always there. You have to allow it, as I've been saying 11 times today. Allow. There is very little that can disturb your soul, your inner being, when you realize that stillness, the 3 S's, stillness, solitude, and silence, is a place that you can always return to. It's always there, waiting for you with open arms and embracement to return to yourself. It's always there. Before we part ways, I want to remind you that, my love, you are a co-creator of this universe, of your world, of your reality. And although it seems like you are not in control, you do possess autonomy. You have the ability to move how you need to move. This is your life. Act like it. You feel me? You were designed with divine intention, divine purpose. And everything is always unfolding for your highest good. Everything is always working out for you. And in those sentiments, realizing those sentiments, you understand that there is nothing that you need to control. And it's crazy, it's funny, releasing that need to control, releasing those attachments. You gain control. Not that we need it, but we gain it. It is in your makeup, your spiritual makeup, your genetic makeup, to flow, to surrender, to evolve. There is no beginning, no ending. There is evolution. There is transformation. There is alchemy. There is flow. There is you. A space where you can always return to when you feel anything less than your truest, authentic self. The time and space is always here. And with that being said, my love, I appreciate you so much for being here with me today, for making space not only for myself, but for you. I'm sending you so much peace, so much love, so much abundance, and everything you need in this moment. I'll talk to you next time. Bye. Mwah.